Alright, Rockers Turbo, back with you here inside the Asylum, and I'm very happy to be joined by the front woman of one of the newest names in thrash right now, kicking some major ass. Their new album, Agony, comes out June 3rd. Joining me now by phone, Fernanda Lira of Nervosa. How are you, Fernanda?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. Thanks everyone who's listening. And I'm doing just great. We're just back. Like literally, I'm just back from a small tour we did in Argentina, and in a day we're gonna be heading to Europe. So it's crazy, but that's the way we like it. You know what I mean? We're just very happy. So thank you for the opportunity of being here, talking about our new album. In a meanwhile.
Well, you're very welcome, and glad to hear that you ladies are out there kicking ass and getting the word out about Agony. Of course, everyone is familiar with Victim of Yourself, your debut first full-length album back in 2014, and now we're finally getting Agony. And I want to ask, were you ladies worried at all going in doing the writing for Agony? There's that old music belief that the second album is always the hardest to write and get done. What was it like for you ladies going in to do that second album?
You know, we've been asked that because some people say there's this whole pressure thing, right, about writing a second album, because people usually expect it to be like better than the first one. That's usually rawer and everything, but we didn't feel this pressure at all, you know, because the way we write music is very organic. We do it in a very natural way. So we don't plan how we want to sound. We don't, you know, we don't actually think like, okay, we should do it this way, people like this way. We just literally just write music we would like to listen. So that's what we did with this Agony album. We were listening to a lot of thrash, fast thrash, and death metal, and therefore it influenced us a lot on writing this album. And we didn't feel any pressure at all. We were just writing the riffs that would come in our minds and everything. But I think because we were listening to more technical stuff, it ended up being, you know, a step forward from the last album, because the songs are more aggressive, more technical, faster. And it's due basically not because we planned it to be this way, but because of the stuff we've been influenced by, you know. So yeah, it was in a very organic way, and I feel great that we we didn't feel any pressure, like not from our label, not from the fans. I think everyone kind of trusts us. The only thing we said to ourselves is that we wanted to take this album to another level, not like we didn't plan how, but we just felt like we should have like a better quality of production. That's why we recorded it in the US. And you know, like now Pichu, our drummer, is writing songs with us, because on the last album, when she got in the band, all the songs were written already. So for the first time, she had the chance to write with us, and she's a very aggressive, technical drummer. So she kind of pushed us to writing, you know, more well written, more complete songs and everything. So yeah, I think this contributed to take the album to another level. But it's nothing that we were like, okay, we should sound like this or that. It was pretty natural. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, and I also find that that's kind of a key for any band nowadays, is for it to be that natural feel in the studio, because that means when you go out to do it live, it'll be close or identical to what you did in the studio, and that makes it more enjoyable for you as a band as well.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's great for you to do stuff on the studio that you will be able, as you said, to play that, you know, in a very tight way live, and also still enjoy, let's say, like you do like super complicated stuff on studio, and then live you can even move on stage because it's super difficult or anything. I think the more natural it comes, the more natural it will be when you play it live on stage, right? So that's how we feel about the songs. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's how it really should be. And I credit you ladies for doing it that way. And I want to talk a little bit about your influences as a bass player, because you are a modern day bass player who plays like the old school, like the originators. You do it all by hand and with your fingers and without a pick. And
Yeah.
was that a decision that you made early on when you began to play bass, that you wanted to really feel everything that you were doing?
Yeah, as influences, like as a band, we have different influences, but I think we all agree in bands like Sepultura and yeah, Slayer and Vader. These are bands the three of us like very much. But personally, there are some bands and people that really made me who I am, the musician I am today. The first of them, I guess, it was Steve Harris. He was the guy that really made me want to play the bass. When I saw him, my dad is a bass player too, and he would always show me stuff on the bass and show videos of him, and also tell me like pay attention the way he plays and everything. So yeah, when I saw like Steve Harris, the way he plays with his hands and how fast and how intense, and the way his bass sounds on the records too, it's always standing out from the other instruments, which is pretty cool. So this whole thing about Steve Harris really influenced me. He's like a master to me. He's the guy that really made me want to play the bass guitar. And then after he made me want to play that, I got influenced by other ones and to develop different techniques. Another one of them was Geezer Butler, the way he explores the melodies inside the melodies, because the melodies in Black Sabbath are kind of simple, right? The notes and everything. And he can make the bass stand out, playing different melodies inside those melodies. And this, I think, he influenced me a lot on that. And Geddy Lee from Rush is another monster that really helped me improving like the speed on my fingers and everything. He really helped me with that, like think fast and write like more complicated stuff. He's a very good guy. And in extreme metal, like thrash metal, I have a master, which is Steve Georgia, who played for Death and Sadas, and now he's playing for Testament. He's just awesome, but I can't say he influenced me because he's just a monster. I will never play 1% from what he plays, so I just admire him as a musician, but he didn't influence me like directly. And for vocals, yeah, it's all like old school, because old school is really where my preferences are. I've been through, since my earliest memories, I've been listening to old stuff because of my dad, and also because my preference, I think I just like, for example, old school thrash metal, old school death metal. That's the kind of stuff I like. Old school metal, like new wave of British heavy metal and stuff. That's my kind of stuff. And so the band that made me want to have a thrash metal band, was Nuclear Assault. When I listened to Game Over the Plague, I was like, oh my god, I gotta play something like that. So they influenced me to have a band. And as for vocals, the way I sing in Nervosa, number one tops would be Chuck Schuldiner from Death. He's the guy that, I get really inspired by him, by the way, because he has, the way he doesn't sing guttural, is like this rappy voice and screams and everything. That's my thing. That's what I like, and that's what I do. And so he influenced me a lot. And also John Tardy from Obituary is another guy that really influenced me on vocals. Yeah, these are my basic influences.
Well, and those are some great influences on vocals. And one thing I really want to credit you for vocally is you managed to do those guttural, aggressive vocals, but you can also understand what you're saying. So many singers go for that aggressive style, but you don't understand them, and you lose some of the lyrics. and you've managed to be right up there with many of the names that you've influenced in capturing that aggressive style while still remaining understandable and being able to hear the lyrics.
That's a great compliment. Thank you very much, because it's something that I really care. The first thing is that that's exactly one of the reasons why I like singers that sing with a graspy voice and everything, not very guttural, because you can understand the message like a little better. But that's one thing that I really like, because first of all, with my lyrics, one of my greatest intentions is making people, stop and think about the stuff I'm writing. So not only agree or disagree, they can do whatever they want, but if they stop to think about that and maybe, debate it with himself or with themselves or with their friends or whatever, that's what I aim, because I talk about a lot of social and political matters, and sometimes we just get used to all the shit that happens around us. So if you stop and think about that, I think it's a good way to start changing things. And I think it doesn't make a lot of sense if you want to pass a message to people, but you can speak it clearly. It makes no sense. So that's what I really care about, making, trying to make myself understandable for my listeners, for the band and everything, because I want them to understand what I'm talking about. And I think this is important. And also another thing that's important is that my way of singing, I like to sing more with more pauses and everything. I can't sing like most death metal singers sing, like like singing lots of words and everything. You see, our lyrics are not that big, phrases are short and everything, not only because it helps me when I'm singing, and it's because it's my style of singing. It's according to the way I breathe and the way my techniques are. It's just adjust to the way it's comfortable to me to sing, but also because of this message thing. I want people to actually try and understand what I'm talking about, So yeah, that was a good point. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I think, the other aspect that people might also forget is, a lot of other bands, the singer is just doing that. They're singing. You're also up there playing bass. So you've got to find a groove and a system that works comfortably for you, so that you're able to do both, and do both at the best that you want to be able to do it.
Exactly, you are completely right, because that's why the way I sing and the way I play in Nervosa, they aren't both complicated. You see, I play like basic lines. My way of playing, like when I'm not playing in Nervosa, I like to explore notes and everything, but on Nervosa I have to make it simple, not only the bass, but the way I sing, it has to be more simple, so I can do both in a decent way. I don't want to have to, being floppy when I'm playing live, or forgetting lyrics, or not being able to do like the screams I want, because I want it to sound like just the way it is on the record. So I think making it simple, it's a good way, and that's what I try to do. Exactly, yeah. And I think that this is important too, but I try to do my best in the simple things. I really try to do it.
Well, you definitely do that on all of Agony, the new album from Nervosa, coming out on June 3rd, or some of you are hearing this after June 3rd, in which case it is already out in stores, so go get yourself a copy. Now, Fernanda, you say you want your messages to be heard, and I'm so glad you have a vocal style that your message can be heard. And I want to ask, when you sit down to write, is it something that just hits you and you feel the urge to write, or do you sit down and wait for something to come to you? What's your muse when it comes to writing?
Yeah, I think I'm from Brazil, and life here in South America isn't easy. We have to deal to a lot of injustice and a lot of bad things going on. We have a lot of social problems, we have a lot of political matters and stuff that on your daily routine you have to deal with that. And what I do in order not to go crazy because of all the bad things you deal when you see around you when you're living here in South America. So the thing I do in order not to go crazy is I just don't. I kind of keep it to myself, I don't get mad at it like all the time, otherwise I would be super stressed all the time. So I kind of keep it to myself, and fortunately I have my lyrics as a way of expressing myself. It's my dearest tool of expressing myself. So what I do when I sit and have an inspiration to write lyrics is usually based on what I have to face on my daily routine, which is usually, like pretty hard stuff and everything. So I use my lyrics as a way of speed out my rage that I can't do like when I am living my daily routine. So I just spit everything out. It's a way of unburdening everything I keep from my daily routine, So yeah, that's why my vocals are kind of aggressive too, because I think exactly of what I was thinking when I was writing, and then I think about that and I get like super furious, and then I scream like hell when I am in the concerts or recording the album. But basically we write about more human aspects about stuff we live in our daily routine. So we'll speak about like social problems, like basic setters that are all fucked up by the government here in Brazil, like education and health system, public services that are all shitty and everything, and corruption, which is it's the root of all evil here in our country. And also on this album I wanted to explore more also about other human aspects, but more abstract aspects, like for example arrogance, hypocrisy, intolerance, so I kind of and I take all of that from experiences I lived or I heard people live, like for example Guerra Santa talks about like religious intolerance, and arrogance talks about arrogance, of course, and hypocrisy and intolerance means war, more about these more abstract feelings and kind of actions of the human being. And then you have failed system, which talks about a system that's all corrupt to the core. And then you have like hostages, which is from our latest video. It talks about the public health system in Brazil, so it's all stuff we have to face in our daily routine, or we see people suffering from that, and then we use the lyrics as a way to spit that out, to unburden about that.
Well, you guys do a great job of doing that, and I think that's something people sometimes forget, is that you guys are writing from a different perspective. Many audiences here in the States are used to a certain perspective from the way things are written, and sometimes an idea is needed or a theme is needed. And being that you're from Brazil, it's a total different society, and it's a different way of living, and so you're able to bring your view of the world and where you're from to everyone through your music.
Yeah, exactly. And with this, I think changes are made when you stop to think and debate about stuff. So if I can do that with my lyrics, like make people at least think about that and watch stuff from a different perspective from what they're used to, I think that's great. I think that's a great way to start changing our chaotic society.
It definitely is. The sooner I think we all start listening to each other as a global community, the better off we all will be. And that's kind of been the message of great rock and metal over the years. No matter where you're from, you can connect with anyone around the world.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is one of the reasons, for example, we write in English, because it's a worldwide language. People can try and understand that and I think we can communicate to more people our message. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you ladies are off to Europe next, and I know many people, including myself, are anxious to see you ladies here in the States. Is there a North American tour being worked on? Is that something we should look forward to in the future?
Yeah, yeah. Right now, in a day we leave to Europe. We spend June and July there in Europe, and right after that, we won't come back home. Not at all. We'll go straight to North America, and we're gonna spend the whole August touring North America. We have some dates in Canada for the first time, and then we are hitting the East Coast USA. We already have 20 dates confirmed. We're starting promoting them, so we'll play like Chicago, New York, and many other states around there in cities and states around there in East Coast. And yeah, because we played the West Coast a couple of months ago, so now it's East Coast time. Yeah, so in August we'll be all over the East Coast and Canada playing, and yeah, I hope to see everyone who's listening there. Please, please, please. We're gonna start as soon as we have like all dates confirmed. We'll start promoting it real hard, and yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be super cool. I really loved touring the West Coast. It was super cool, and South. We also toured a little bit of South, so now East Coast is gonna be like another dream that comes true for us. Yeah, so August, there we go.
Awesome. Well, you heard it right here, gang. This August, East Coast, Nervosa is coming our way. Fernanda Lira of Nervosa, thank you for joining me here inside the asylum. It's been an honor to speak with you, and I look forward to seeing you ladies when you get to the East Coast. Before I let you go, I do have the album Agony in front of me. Is there a song from the album that is maybe your favorite that you would like me to play?
Well, I think Deception is my favorite song on this album. Like, of course, I love all of them. It's like it's as if they were all my children, so it's kind of hard to choose the favorite, but I think Deception is by far my favorite song on this album. It's almost a death metal song. I was really influenced by Cannibal Corpse when I wrote the riffs for that song, and I really like the vocals on it. I really like the pace of this song. I think it's a complete song. There's thrash, there's a lot of death metal, and it's definitely my favorite one, Deception. Yeah.
Alright, well, let's check that one out, gang. Brand new music. Favorite from Fernanda Lira of Nervosa's new album, Agony. This is Deception. Stay tuned. More to come here inside the Asylum.